Investigators showed the video to a biologist with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, who determined that it was clearly a human in a bear suit. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Today is the first day of the rest of our lives, and I overslept. And welcome to Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. Beleaguered and bedraggled, I am Norman Chad. Coming up today on the show, Donald Trump equals birth control. Bill Belichick is now Mr. Media. And we will talk Thanksgiving with two people who live to eat. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos, picked fresh off of Central California trees each morning, direct to your local retailer every afternoon. And by Fresca. It's refreshing. It's remarkable. It's Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. But first, Representative Nancy Mace, a Republican from South Carolina, introduced a resolution this week that would ban transgender women from using the women's bathroom at the Capitol. This is a preemptive move with Representative-elect Sarah McBride, Democrat from Delaware, scheduled to be sworn in as the first transgender lawmaker in Congress next year. Mace obviously does not want to see McBride in the women's bathroom. So is she expected to use the men's bathroom? I don't think so. What's McBride supposed to do? Poop in the woods? You know, it's tough enough being a transgender. Nancy Mace, you think this is just some lifestyle choice, like whether to wear baggy jeans or not? Trans women are women who are assigned male at birth, experience gender dysphoria, and eventually transition medically with gender-affirming surgery. The struggle with gender identity is real. The struggle with societal ridicule is real. The struggle with unending discrimination is real. I used to say that being born black, female, and gay, if you happen to be born black, female, and gay, that would be 3 strikes against you before you even get out of the crib. If you end up being a transgender, that is a 4th strike. Good luck and Godspeed. But, you know, of course, in America, at least you have the Second Amendment to defend yourself. Many people have talked about leaving the country as Donald Trump takes over the White House again. Here in California, we don't need to leave the country. We already have. Anyway, if you're thinking about it but don't want to make the full commitment, do we have a cruise for you? Villa V Residential Cruise Line has introduced what it is calling the Skip Forward package. You can set sail on the Villa V Odyssey ship for as long as 4 years. That's right, a 4-year trip on the high seas to get away from it all and wipe Donald Trump's 1,460 days in office out of your life. Your all-inclusive ticket, room, meals, beer, and wine, $255,999 for a single occupancy room, $319,998,000 for a double occupancy room. That's for 4 years, and you will get to visit 140 nations across all 7 continents. But there's more. You want to hedge your bet? Okay, maybe you think you're ready to come home after the 2026 congressional elections. Well, yes. Then you can book a 2-year midterm selection package, $150K for a single room, $188K for a double occupancy room. Folks, this is another indication that Donald Trump single-handedly is going to drive economic growth. Elsewhere in Trump world, after Donald Trump triumphed on Election Day, Planned Parenthood is reporting that there is a 760% increase in IUD appointments and a 1,200% increase in vasectomies. Ouch. Okay, how dumb is the left? And how lucky is the right? First of all, This is a big win for pro-lifers. There will be fewer abortions. Second of all, the right continues to have kids at a record pace, and now the left is going to go childless. Big advantage for the right in future elections, more bodies. And actually, just between you and me, I don't want to see any more liberal men having babies. There's just too much complaining from those people. It reminds me of that old joke, what's the difference between a liberal and a puppy? Eventually, the puppy quits whining. Morning Joe is an unwatchable morning news talk show on MSNBC, co-hosted by the husband and wife team of Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. They used to like Donald Trump, and then they hated Donald Trump. They hated him for a long time. But they decided to visit him at Mar-a-Lago this week and pal it up again, which is the subject of this week's foreign language rant. Joe and Mika, ¿qué estás pensando? Trump es un mal hombre. Trump es un criminal. Trump es un dictador. Trump es un fascista. Trump solo quiere agarrar a las mujeres por el coño. Oh, y Donald Jr. y Eric, más estúpidos que una fire hydrant. ¿Qué estás pensando? ¿Qué estás pensando? ¿Qué estás pensando? Eso es todo. Vaya con Dios. Time for overlooked inventions. Oh, yeah. We've brought you the mirror. We've brought you the back scratcher. Okay? This week, the nail clipper. Yeah, the nail clipper. Now, before the nail clipper came around, people would either chew their nails or, believe it or not, they would use knives to trim their nails. Usually maybe a smaller knife than this one, but that's very dangerous. Okay, it was dangerous. Now, my ancestors were a little smarter. They actually were the first to start using scissors. Ow. Okay. So they use scissors, but my great uncle Stanislav still made countless visits to the ER. In 1875, the first nail clipper patent in the United States was filed by Valentine Fogarty. In 1889, the Boston Globe ran an article that contended that clipping your fingernails on weekends led to bad fortune. According to the article, quote, if you cut your fingernails on Friday, you are playing with the devil's hand. On Saturday, you are inviting disappointment, and on Sunday, you will have bad luck all week. FYI, I usually cut my fingernails on, Tuesdays or Thursdays, which is why I enjoy mostly good luck over the years with my NFL picks. Ah, yes. My goodness, it's time for our NFL picks. I got to tell you, I was lucky last week. I'm now 23-20-2 for the season. That's not bad. Last week I was 2-3. But, I'll tell you why I was lucky. I had the Falcons plus 2.5, and they lost by 32 points. I had the Jaguars plus 13, and they lost by 46 points. Hey, sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong. And sometimes I am very wrong. You want to replace me? Go right ahead. Ooh, I'm shaking. Okay? My podcast, my picks. I don't answer to you. You answer to me. Let's go to the picks. Vikings at Bears. 10 NFL head coaches were hired in 2022. The Vikings' Kevin O'Connell has the best record of all of them, 27-16. Okay, enough with numbers. The Bears are 4-6. Well, I guess that's another number, but it's a small number. They should be 6-4. They've lost twice on the final play of the game to a Hail Mary and to a blocked field goal. A lesson to learn there. The final play counts. I found that out my junior year at the University of Maryland when I had a pretty good semester in my astronomy class, but then got an F on the final exam and failed. I am taking the Vikings here as a 3.5-point favorite. Buccaneers at Giants. I just can't get excited about Buccaneers coach Todd Bowles. It reminds me when I used to go to ABBA concerts. They'll sing a few songs and then we all go home. But there's excitement this week in New Jersey. Not the bagels, not the diners. Tommy DeVito is back. The Giants benched Daniel Jones. He was 24, 44-1 in his career as a starting quarterback. And hometown hero Tommy DeVito gets the job again. He's Frankie Valli with a helmet. They are both Jersey boys. This is going to be a Giants upset. I'm taking the Giants and 5.5 points. Chiefs at Panthers. Okay, sure, the Chiefs should bounce back from their first loss of the season, but 7 of their 9 victories have been one-score games. Plus, the Panthers are coming off an overtime win in Germany. You know how hard it is to win in Germany? That's a long-ass trip on Amtrak from North Carolina. Then you've got to contend with the Berlin Wall, and the referees speak no English. Anyway, until there's an intervention, I'm going to keep betting on bad teams, even though I'm not doing anything with the Titans this week. Oh, thank you. No Titans this week. Nothing with the Titans this week. I'm going to take the Panthers, getting a lot of points. Maybe not enough. I'm going to take the Panthers and 11 points. It is time for our calendar pick of the week. Broncos at Raiders. The Raiders have covered the spread in 8 straight home games against Denver. Big deal. I once had 8 straight good weeks in my second marriage, and we still got divorced. Suddenly, Broncos quarterback Bo Nix is a Rookie of the Year contender. Just last week, he completed 28 of 33 passes for 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Broncos defense will smother the Raiders. Their quarterback is Gardner Minshew. He's got a mustache. He throws a lot of short passes, and he gets sacked a lot. Hey, sometimes a great mustache will only take you so far. I've done pretty darn well, particularly with the ladies. I'm going to take the Broncos in this one, giving 5.5 points. 49ers at Packers. Here's the thing. I'm going to take the 49ers in this one as an underdog, but there are 2 major concerns. Running back Christian McCaffrey has not quite bit himself since returning 2 weeks ago from an Achilles tendonitis problem. Now, as most of you know, the Achilles tendon joins the calf muscle with the heel bone. I would show it to you myself, but I don't like taking off my shoes in public. The other concern, the 49ers superstar pass rusher Nick Bosa left last week's game with an oblique injury. Frankly, I don't know what the oblique is. I don't know where the oblique is. I don't even know why it is. I don't even like saying oblique. If Bosa doesn't play, the 49ers could be in a lot of trouble. I'm going to gamble that he's going to play, and I'm going to take the 49ers plus 2.5 points. D-Gen's going to D-Gen. Case number 1. 4 Californians have been arrested for insurance fraud. They filed insurance claims on 3 Mercedes-Benzes. They said the cars were attacked by a bear while parked at Lake Arrowhead, northeast of Los Angeles. They filed video of the attack with their claims. Investigators showed the video to a biologist with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, who determined that it was clearly a human in a bear suit. Investigators went to the suspect's home and found a bear costume and metal hand tools that simulate claws. Hey, they gave it a shot. And I'll say this, when I saw Planet of the Apes, I thought those were real apes with some real acting chops. D-Gen's gonna D-Gen. Case number 2. British snooker pro Mark King has been banned for competing for 5 years, guilty of match fixing. For those of you not familiar with snooker, it's a form of billiards. King was among the world's top players for 20 years. The World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association found him guilty of 1 count of match fixing and 1 count of providing inside information on a match. In addition to the ban, the 50-year-old also has to pay a fine of $80,000. This reminds me of my own billiards playing days back in college. One of my roommates for a few months liked to play pool. I liked to shoot pool. We'd go down to the pool hall, and we would play for $1 a game. No big deal. Now, for some reason, when we're playing, we're drinking beers, and when one of us had to go to the bathroom, the other one just kept shooting until they missed, and then it would wait till the person came out of the bathroom, and we continued the game. One time I came out of the bathroom, and it was my shot. I took a shot. I missed. Walked over to the side. A guy at the next table over came up to me and says, you all are gambling? I said, well, I wouldn't call it gambling. It's just $1 game. He says, yeah, well, your buddy's cheating. He's cheating? Yeah, when you go to the bathroom, when he misses a shot, he just keeps shooting. He just puts in 2 or 3, no matter how often he misses. I said, thank you very much. We went that night to get something to eat after we played. I don't remember who won. We sat down in the booth. I looked over at my buddy. I said, hey, Larry, let me ask you this. When I go to the bathroom, why do you have to cheat and pretend like you made the shots? Now, I'm not a homicide detective, and I have a little poker background about tells, but he didn't have to say a word. He was guilty as sin. If you saw his face, I knew he was doing it. I said, don't do it anymore. And so he didn't do it anymore. But the reason he didn't do it anymore is I didn't feel like playing with him. If he's cheating on me, I don't care if it's $1 game. We were through. Honor means something among pool hustlers. Let's turn to food. We have assembled an eclectic panel of 2 people who like to eat. From San Diego, we are joined by fast foodie Juan Lozano, an agent, friend of the pod, and the people's champion since 1978. Juan is currently single. From Silver Spring, Maryland, we are joined by bona fide foodie Tony Boyette, a chef, a writer, and proprietor of Tony'sTable.com. She is currently on her second marriage. Thanks, both of you, for coming on to Gambling Mad. And before we get started, by the way, Juan, tell me, what's the last thing you ate today before you came onto this show?
I'm turning over a new leaf, right? So I went to a protein bar, and I'm 2 Red Bulls into the day.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I'm gonna go for a run now. So I'm parked in a public space. I'm gonna go for a run, and then I'm probably gonna fat out for the rest of the day.
Okay.
So yeah.
I would assume because you were in the car, it would have been a drive-through, amongst your people. But that's good. Protein bar, Red Bulls are good. Tony, what did you eat just before we came on the air?
Well, I didn't get to eat yet, so I've got my fabulous bowl of homemade cabbage soup with dumplings, chicken cilantro dumplings inside, little Asian-inspired lunchtime.
Okay, that's just, but again, already right there, you're putting Juan to shame.
That inspires me.
Okay. You people, okay. First of all, let's start with Juan. Let's just say you're allowed for the rest of your life to eat only chicken, beef, or fish. Which one do you choose?
I'm going to go through the work here. I'm going to show my work on paper here. Definitely not chicken. Sort of a worthless animal unless it's fried. So we're going to move on from that one. Beef. And am I living in the U.S. of A? Then I'd probably stay away from the beef. I'm not a real big fan of the security of the food chain here. Number one. Number two, the Americans kind of bland treatment of the steak. They glorify the steak. But really, the best thing at a steakhouse generally tends to be, I would say, the sides. And usually some of those sides, for example, like a lobster mac and cheese, I'll go with a fish. I'm nautical. I make nautical maneuvers. I live close to the ocean. I'm going fish all day, but with the caveat that it's fish, crustaceans, and whatnot.
You're going seafood.
Things from the sea. Seafood, all seafood. So I'm going to take Norm's question. I'm going to modify it to fit what I want to say, and I'm going to say seafood across the board.
It's a good way to go through life. I
Tony,
that.
Just before you weigh in, I just want to clarify something. You keep referring to Americans and they. Where were you born, sir?
Actually, that's a really good question. Okay, I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of the place I was born. I was born in the Naval Hospital here. But my citizenship is slowly getting deteriorated right now. So it's going to be we're going through a whole process, and we're going through a process of undoing that.
That's a whole other episode, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony, chicken, meat or fish?
You know, I gotta copy my brother Juan here. Chicken. Now, had you said perhaps poultry, that might have given it, because my original thought was turkey. You know, I can do turkey, and I went through a thing a couple summers ago where turkey was all I craved, and I couldn't eat anything. I was dreaming of turkey sandwiches, roast turkey, but beef, just for health reasons, different health reasons than what Juan stated. I can't be having or meat. I can't be having a steady diet of meat. So I'm going to go with fish, and you know,
is duck part of the poultry, Tony?
duck is part of poultry, absolutely. But you know, with fish, we're going to be healthier. And I was going to try to push the envelope, but my mother raised me right, so I was not going to push the envelope and try to grab more and say seafood. But seafood would be a lovely, you know, augmentation. But fish, you know, I can do salmon burgers, I can do salmon fillet. I've got sushi going on there, and then you know, the wide array of fish out there, your mahi-mahi, branzino. I couldn't imagine a life without salted branzino. So yeah, I'm going with fish. Thank you very much.
Okay, two.
What's branzino?
Yeah, branzino's a little fancier. It's a very light fish. It's a good fish. You don't find. I mean, I go with fish too, but I usually am getting fish at Long John Silver's or Arthur Treacher's. So she's a little fancier than us, Juan. Now, she mentioned turkey. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and let's start with Tony this time. What's the one item you love to eat on Thanksgiving and the one item that you hate to eat?
You know, I'm a stuffing girl. I love my stuffing and gravy. Love it, love it, love it. And all this different, but don't put nuts in it. Please don't put any freaking nuts in my stuffing. I'll take cranberries, maybe water chestnuts, but stuffing would be it. Or I have to claim two things. Anything with sweet potato. And I know your people tend to subscribe to the pumpkin pie Thanksgiving dessert.
Okay.
My people, we do sweet potato pie, and we do it right. Now, and we like it so much, we do it twice. We do a sweet potato casserole that could basically be a dessert because we've got so much brown sugar in it, and marshmallows melted on top. But so anything sweet potato related, I'm going to love, even roasted straight out of the oven. But really, the stuffing is the thing for me.
Our people built this nation. Our people brought your people to this nation, and so I think you have a better appreciation.
Thank you.
You have a better combination. Sweet potato pie is the way to go. Juan, sweet potato. Well, you don't have to even. That's not by something you want or don't want. But sweet potato pie, do you like it? Pumpkin pie, do you like it? Which one do you like?
It's serviceable. So here's the thing. It's serviceable. I definitely I don't F with pumpkin pie. That is nasty. I'll do sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie is okay. I can do that. But my thing is this: is like I feel bad for Thanksgiving because I don't cook myself. I go to people's homes where they make food. Sometimes the food isn't up to par, and I have a hard time. Obviously I'm not rude. I'm not going to say anything, so I get to sit there and eat sometimes. Bland food. I'm not a pilgrim. I like spice. So I like spicy things. So there's no pilgrim.
Them, baby.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. So, but generally, my Thanksgiving consists of kind of what's left at Popeyes. So it's true though. So the staple of my Thanksgiving meal is generally, I'd say probably a biscuit, maybe some red beans and rice, which are always delicious, and some chicken on the bones. I like the dark meat for sure.
Of course.
I mean, going back to the poultry question, I mean, like chicken breast, pretty worthless. Like there's no flavor.
You can do some fun stuff with chicken breast, though. I mean, you can do some fun chicken breast and artichoke hearts and champagne sauce. It's amazing. I got I have a sidebar question. Can I eat my soup while we're doing this, or should I wait?
Yeah, you can eat your soup. We're about done. By the way, there's a Los Angeles restaurant I just saw that's now offering a fried artichoke salad that actually looks delicious.
And I was going to say that.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at that.
Town?
I believe it was in Santa Monica. I'll double check and let you know. I just read about it the other day, but I'd never seen fried artichoke salad. So we are going to wrap up here. Let Tony enjoy her second or third meal of this early day, and we will move on. Juan Lozano from San Diego, we appreciate you being with us. Tony Boyette, tonystable.com, coming in from Silver Spring, Maryland. Juan, good luck with the single life. Tony, good luck with the marriage. And if we have a cancellation coming up, we will see you two again. Appreciate it. By the way, a belated nod / tip of the cap to my hometown, my place of birth, Washington, D.C. Those in the nation capital still don't have a voting representative in Congress, but they still get a vote in the presidential election. And here it is, the results. Kamala Harris, 290,000 votes. Donald Trump, 21,000 votes. Harris carried D.C. with 92% of the vote. Trump got less than 7%. My people, can I get an amen? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you. Gotta love it. Biggest margin of victory in the country. Washington, D.C. usually doesn't have a good baseball team. Washington, D.C. usually doesn't have a good basketball team. Washington, D.C. usually doesn't have a good hockey team. Washington, D.C. usually doesn't have a good football team. But Washingtonians know a criminal con artist when they see one. On the other hand, that wasn't the case back in the 1990s. Just before I fled my hometown, many fellow Washingtonians elected Marion Barry to a fourth term as mayor after he had served 6 months in prison on a cocaine possession charge. Barry's campaign slogan, he may not be perfect, but he's perfect for D.C. I'm surprised MAGA did not adopt a version of that for Donald Trump. He may be a felon, but he is our felon. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. I beg of you, Bill Belichick, go back to the sideline. The man who is arguably the greatest NFL coach ever has a lifelong disdain of the media. So what does he do the moment he stops coaching? He joins the media. Of course he does. Belichick appears weekly on Inside the NFL. Belichick appears weekly on the Pat McAfee Show. Belichick is part of the unfathomably unlistenable Let's Go podcast, and Belichick is a regular on the Monday Night Football Manning cast on ESPN2. He's got more broadcasting jobs than Ryan Seacrest. Next week, I'm going to turn on The Masked Singer, and he's going to be a contestant and a judge. Now, I defended Bill Belichick when he started dating a 24-year-old cheerleader. Now, that's his personal life. But now he's impinging on my personal life with his decision to become a media whore, and I won't have it. Bill, find another coaching job, and I will buy you a new hoodie. And that will do it for another episode of Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, if you're going to roll the dice, make sure they're loaded. Norman Chad. We're not even to day one yet. We are in the midst of a 10-week day zero. Our president-elect is a twice-impeached felonious reality TV star, and he's surrounding himself with a cast of scoundrels and snakes in the grass. His attorney general pick is under investigation for sexual misconduct and drug use. The director of national intelligence has no background in intelligence. The EPA administrator has no interest in protecting the environment. The Secretary of Energy is an oil executive who doesn't believe in the climate crisis. The Health and Human Services Secretary doesn't believe in science. The Homeland Security Secretary killed her own puppy. The Defense Secretary is a Fox News host. The Transportation Secretary is a Fox Business host. Heck, I haven't even gotten to Stephen Miller, the human-like substance, who is a self-professed expert on the human race. The Secretary of State's going to be Marco Rubio. 25 years ago, he wouldn't qualify as a crosswalk guard, but in the company of this hatful of halfwits, he seems almost Winston Churchill-esque. Then there's Elon Musk, IQ Infinity. Nobody elected him, but he's running the country right now, one keyboard stroke at a time for his 205 million followers on X. It feels like we've been dropped into the pit of despair, hooked up to that torture machine, and they've turned it up to 100, and it is making me gambling mad!
Gambling Mad with Norm Chad is written by Norm Chad and ghostwritten by Norm Chad. Executive producer John Scheinberg, Rick Barrio-Dill, and produced by Norm Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Associate producer is Bree Coury. And on editing, Asher Friedberg. Audio, video, engineering, and studio facilities provided by 360 Pod Studios Beverly Hills and Slap Studios LA. If you want to complain to Norm about anything, make sure to reach out at Gambling Mad Show, anywhere you get your socials, and at Gambling Mad with Norm Chad on YouTube. And if you really want to get at him, send a message to info@slapstudiosla.com.